This is Gemara Rosh HaShanah Daf Lamed Dalet. All the learning for this week has been generously sponsored anonymously as a Zchus for Shlema for Pesha Bas Meiron. Today, in the second to last day of Gemara Rosh HaShanah, the learning of the entire Chabura should be a tremendous Zchus for Shlema for Pesha Bas Meiron. The Mirza Hashem should have a complete recovery. B'Seich Shar Chali Yisrael, as well as the Zchus Shiliv Shalchaim, the very Shemirim Bas Yitzchak Giddush Handel, Esther Bas Shana Makil, Mordechai Ben Davshin, Shendel, as well as the Zchus for Shlema for Shmuel Yis Ben very best winner Ben Sima Zeda Ben Vavik Chaim and Sarah Shlomo Yisib Ben Eizel Sarah Bas Kanan the Itabasim Bas Chayis Yisrael Middle Eretz Pedro Shalei Shem As Nami Bashevik Shechan Shmo Bantila Tenim Chan Rizim Chaim Mizvina Nidin Bashin Min Dasvi Vivek Veron and Vil and Sun Azel Rivka Shem Talzim Bechlaster B'Soy Shar Chayli Yisrael. We're holding on the bottom of Lami Gimel Amid Beis, the second to last day of this most incredible Besechta, and we're dealing with the crux of Rosh HaShanah, the shofar. How many times do you have to blow? And we were in the middle of discussing yesterday that you have before each set, you have a tekiah before and a tekiah afterwards. And today is where we're going to come out with the line of tekiah shvarim tekiah. And as well, we're going to learn, like we mentioned 2 days ago, that because we're in doubt, we're going to blow tekiah shvarim trua tekiah, tekiah shvarim tekiah, and tekiah trua tekiah. And we're in the middle of learning out that how do we know that before each shofar blast we have a tekiah pre and tekiah post. So we'll take it off from the bottom of Lam Gimel Mabez, the second to last line. U'menayim shebashuta lefaneo tamalei mervarta shofar trua. U'menayim shebashuta la'achreo tamalei metavir shofar. So we see out from the fact is vahavarta, from the fact that it says ta'aviru, that shows us that we have to have a tekiah and a tekiah pre and post each and every set. Ve'ein li elu b'yovel. Rosh HaShanah minayin, that pasuk is by Yovel, as we saw a moment ago. How do you know the same din is by Rosh HaShanah? Tamalei mar V'achodesh hashvi, says the Torah, V'achodesh hashvi, on the 7th month, she'ein talmud loimer b'chodesh hashvi, those words were completely unnecessary. U'ma talmud loimer b'chodesh hashvi, to teach us that we equate all the shofar of Yovel to Rosh HaShanah. All the shofar of the 7th month b'chodesh hashvi are equal. She'kol ha'teruz b'chodesh hashvi zeh kozeh, that they all have to be equal. And that's going to be the theme of the day that we're going to have whenever we have one pasuk by Yovel. Then we're going to have Chodesh Hashvi telling us that the same din is going to be by Rosh Hashanah as well, and that is din number 1 of the day, that each and every set we have a tekiah in the beginning and a tekiah at the end, v'havarta and ta'aviru. And now continues the Gemara, Dalet Amud Aleph, u'menayin l'shalish shel shalish shalish. And how do we know that we have to have at least 3 sounds? 1 after Malchios, 1 by Shofars, 1 by Zechraynos, 3 of each. And of course, this is where we're going to get the quintessential 10 Iker Shofar blasts, which will result in the 30 Iker Shofar blasts. Ta'amalei Mar, it says in the Torah by Yovel, V'avarta Shofar Trua, Shabbasoin Zichron Trua, Yom Trua Yilachem. 3 mentions of Avarta, Trua, teaching us that you have to blow the shofar 3 times. U'menayin litin es ha'amr shal zeh, Bizeh v'shal zeh bizeh. And how do you know that's a pasuk by Yovel? How do we know that that applies as well in the parsha of Emor, as well as the parsha of Pinchas, that that's going to apply by each and every time? Says the Gemara, Ta'amalei Mar, Shvi, Gzeira Shava, Gzeira Shava. Okay, he said, Shalosh ein Teisha, 3, which is going to be 9, 3 by each, which is going to be 3 sets of tekiah, trua tekiah. Again, that word tekiah is that which we don't know what it means, as we'll see more in Amud Beis, and that's where we're going to get all the different permutations. But at the moment, the Iker is 3 times tekiah, trua tekiah. Says the Gemara, shir tekiah trua, going back at the din of the Mishnah, that the Mishnah taught us that the shir, the length of the tekiah, is just like the trua. Shir trua is kol shleisha shvarim, and the shir of a trua is going to be like 3 shvarim. Says the Gemara, Hai Tana Meikara Maisila Be'akesha V'ashta Maisila B'Gzir Shava. What's going on over here? Originally, when we equated, that's how we started today in the bottom of Oven Base. When we equated Rosh HaShanah to Yom Kippur, we said it's a Hekish, and now we're saying it's the Gzir Shava. What is going on over here? Says the Gemara, Hachi Kamar Ilav Gzir Shava Havimasina La Be'akesha. It's like an additional limud. If we didn't have the fact that we had Gzir Shava, then we would bring it from a Hakish. But says the Gemara, Hasha Dasab Gzeir Shava, Hakesha Lo Yitzarech, we do not need the Hakish. And that is din number 1 how we know part Hekish, part Gzir Shava. If not one, we have the other. That we know that we have three blasts, Tkiya, Trua, Tkiya, by both Yovel and Rosh HaShanah, and that is part number one. Says the Gemara, V'haitana Maisila B'Gzeir Shava Mei Midbar. Now we have another source. Says the Gemara, the following Tana learns it from Gzeir Shava with regard to the shofar that was blown inside the desert. The Tanya, as we learned in the Brisa, Uskatem Trua. It says in the pasuk that you should blow a Trua. Tekiya b'fnei atzma. That tells us one Tekiya. Usikatem. Utrua b'fnei atzma. And one Trua, because it says Trua. Ato imer Tekiya b'fnei atzma. Trua b'fnei atzma. Oyen el Tekiya Trua achasi. Maybe it's all one and the same. Maybe Uskatim Trua says you should blow a Trua, and it's only referring to one sound. How do you know it means two sounds? When the pasuk says when you gather the congregation, you should blow v'loi tariu, and you should not blow a Trua. What does that show us? You should blow a Tekiya, not a Trua. Obviously, Tekiya and Trua are two different things. So now you know the pasuk says Uskatem Trua. It's referring to two different sounds. You should blow a Tekiya and you should blow a Trua. And how do you know that you always have to proceed every set with a Pshuta with a Tekiya? Tamalaymar says in the Torah Uskatem Trua. Oh, that's really what we're looking for. Tamalaymar Trua Yitkau. Another pasuk says a Trua you should blow. And now we know that you have to have a Tekiya, a Trua, and a Tekiya. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Shmuel ben Oshar Yochanan Breika Imar. Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Yochanan Breika, says, "Einay tzarich." We don't really need this. Why not? Harei Oimer. The Torah already says who's got them trua shenis. The Torah already says that you should blow a trua a second time. It's referring to when the Klal Yisrael rests from their journey. Shein tam lemer shenis. Why does it say blow a trua a second time? What is that word shenis teaching us? Umatam lemer shenis zebona av shkomakim shemer trua Tekiya shniya la. That whenever you have a trua, you have a second tekiya that goes together with it, and that tells us that you have the tekiya already. We knew the trua. Now you have to have a second tekiya afterwards. But where was this? In the midbar. Only elam the midbar. But Rosh HaShanah minayin again. So we just had two sources for the fact that tekiya skatim trua and tekiya trua yitkau, or according to Rabbi Shmuel, uskatim trua shenis. Two different sources that in the midbar they blew a tekiya trua tekiya. Says the Gemara, that's only in the midbar. Rosh HaShanah minayin tamaloymar trua l'gzeir shava. We have a gzeir shava. V'sholish trua is nemer Rosh HaShanah. And says the Gemara, and the three truos that is said by Rosh Hashanah, which are what? Number one, Shabbasayin Zichron Trua. Number two, Yom Trua. Number three, Vavarta Shefer Trua. Ushtei Tekiyos Chol Achas V'Achas. And you have to have two tekiyos for each and every one. So what do we have? The Gemara does some math for us. Matzino Lamedim. Shalosh truos v'sheish tekiyos. 6 tekiyos, 3 truos. Tekiya trua, tekiya, tekiya trua, tekiya, tekiya trua, tekiya. You have the tekiyos on the side. 6 tekiyos, 3 truos in the middle. Number of Rosh Hashanah. Shtayim midivrei Torah va'achas midivrei Seifrim. Says the Gemara, 2 of those are daraisa and one of them is derabanan. And on that the Gemara explains Shabbasayin Zichron Trua, that when the Torah says Shabbos in a day of rest, the remembrance of the Trua, Va'avarta Shefer Trua, Mitivrei Torah, those two psukim are daraisa. Yom Trua Yalachem L'Talmud Ayuba, that comes to teach us that you equate it to everything else. That is Gzeir Shava, equating Rosh Hashanah of the Midbar to that is the Gzeir Shava telling us that the Trua of Rosh Hashanah is like the Trua of the Midbar, like we said a moment ago. And Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani on the first white line, on Rav Yona's son, Achaz Midivrei Saira, and Shtayim Midivrei Saifrim. How does he learn? Vavarta Shefer Trua, that's one pasuk of Daraisa Midivrei Torah. Shabbos and Zichron Trua, V'yem Trua Yilachem, the Talmud Ha'Ba. They both come to teach us a teaching. Again, whenever you see the Talmud Ha'Ba, Gzeir Shava, Hekish, that's a Din Darab. Rabbanan. Maile Talmud Ayuba. What does that mean? That comes to teach me a different din. They can only blow the shofar by day and not by night. And that is the source how we know that we're blowing the shofar both on Rosh Hashanah and on Yovel, and the equation between the two of them. And what does the Tanakhama hold? We didn't learn that till now. So where did he learn B'yom V'Leila? Nafkale B'yom Kippurim. If it says the Gemara B'yom Kippurim Yolef Nigmar Nami Nema L'Pshut L'Fanav Pshut L'Achrel. If we're learning from Yom Kippur, so why don't we say that from Yom Kippur we already see that you have to have a Tkiyah before and a Tkiyah afterwards? Explains the Gemara. Va'avarta ta'aviru le'mashmalu. Those two psukim are not mashma to the Tanakhama. Ela my darshibu. So what does Tanakhama hold? Va'avarta kid Rav Nasna. Dam Rav Nasna. Va'avarta derech avara ta'aviru. Derech avarasai. The avarta means you have to blow the shofar the way that it is carried, as we pointing upward. Ta'aviru to come rachmana navri biyad. They have to carry it with your hands. So the Tanakhama learns va'avarta and ta'aviru for two different psukim. So he doesn't have them extra to teach us. They need to have a tkiyah trua, tkiyah ve'edach. And what does the other Manda Amar that holds the avarta teaches us? You have to have a tkiyah. Ramasna midishani b'dibura. How does he learn how the din of Ramasna? From the fact that the pasuk was shani b'dibura, he changed the words. Ta'aviru biyad. Loi matis amrit. The fact that midashani b'dibura changes from the regular word tekiah, and rather what word did he use? Va'avar to the word trua. Ta'aviru biyad. Loi matis amrit. So, sorry, one more time. The first din, I read that incorrectly. One more time. Ve'edach. And how does the other mandamar? Oh no, you have to blow a tekiah straight because he used the funny word of ta'aviru. Now, ta'aviru biyad loi matis amrit. The din that says ta'aviru you have to carry in your hand, he disagrees. Tekamar avara. He learns out from Moshe Rabbeinu, and therefore the word of Avarta doesn't teach us about carrying it, rather it teaches us about blowing the shofar. And the concluding says the Gemara, and from over there you learn out from the Chatzaitzra. It says Gemara, 1 second, you're learning from the midbar? They didn't blow shofar in the midbar. They blew chatzaitzros, blew trumpets in the midbar. A new source. And we've had this many times. What's the one yontif that the moon is covered over? It's at the beginning of the month. Remember, Zer Rosh HaShanah. And the Kamar Achmana shofar. Think about this shofar. And that is how we know we have to blow the shofar on Rosh HaShanah. And that is the end of the sources to blow 9 blasts. Tkiyah, trua, tekiyah. Now it says the Gemara, Iskin Rebbe Avua B'Kaseri. He made the following tekana. Tekiah, shleisha shvarim, trua tekiah. He said, you know what you do? You don't blow tekiah, shvarim, tekiah. You don't blow tekiah, trua tekiah. You blow tekiah, shvarim, trua tekiah 3 times. Why? And this is probably, perhaps, the most famous and critical line of the entire Masechta, because this is our Rosh HaShanah shofar. Says Rav Avua, Mimanashach. We're about 8 lines to the bottom. Love it, tekiah, trua tekiah. Ask the Gemara, I don't understand. If the word trua meant yalil, then it should be a trua. The whimpers. And moaning. It should be in tekiah, shvarim, tekiah. So what is going on over here? Why did you, Rav Avua, say you should tekiah, shvarim, trua, tekiah? Explains the Gemara. Misav kalei, he wasn't sure. What was he not sure? He was not sure. He didn't know what does the word mean. Is it a yalul or a ganuchi? So you know what he said? We don't know. Do both. Says the Gemara, 1 second. Doing both doesn't always work. Maybe really it's yaluli, it's a whimper, it's a trua. Meaning, what are we looking for? Again, we're looking to fulfill tekiah, trua, tekiah. That was the first part of the entire day. Learning to Rosh Hashanah, multiple limudim, learning that you have to say tekiah, trua, tekiah. What does that word tekiah mean? Trua, what does that middle trua mean? We do not know. Says Ravua, we don't know, we do both. Ask the Gemara, 1 second. Maybe, really, what does it mean? Trua. And the fact you're doing 3 shvarims in the middle is a hefsek. You have a shvarim in the middle of your shofar. The other of it, tkiya, trua, tkiya. Says Gemara, you're right. In order to count for that suffix, we do tkiya, trua, tkiya afterwards. Maskla Ravina. Maybe it's really a moan, it's a shvarim. And really, the trua is being a hefsek. The other of it, tria, shvarim, trua. Says the Gemara, that's why you do both, and that's how we get the set. Elu Rav Avua Mayitkin says Gemara, what was this takana? Iganuchi ganach havdei, iyalu yalil havdei. I don't understand. You're not sure which it is. So you did tkiya, trua, tkiya. You did tkiya, shvarim, tkiya. So you got your ganach, you got your yolil, you got your moans, you got your whimpers. So why did Rav Avua say tkiya, shvarim, trua, tkiya? Says the Gemara, and this is the line. Misaf kalei dama ganach v'yolil. Maybe it's both. Says Gemara, 1 second. You should do the opposite. You should tkiya, trua, shvarim, tkiya. Dilma yolil v'ganach. Maybe it's first a whimper and then a moan. Says the Gemara, fascinating. How do you cry? Stama de milsa ki masri beinish milsa bereisha ganach v'hadiyal. First you moan and then you sob. First you have long cries, wah, 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 and then you lose yourself, wah, wah, wah. And that's where we get the shofar that we have today. So at the end of the day, why do we have the 10 critical shofar blasts, which of course equals the 30 shofar blasts? Malchus and shofars. Because really, what are we trying to do? One thing: tkiya, trua, tkiya. We want to do that 3 times. We're really looking for 9 blasts. Tkiya, trua, tkiya, the gzir shavas that we had and the hekish as we had today. But we don't know what a trua is. Is it ganach? Is it a moan? Is it yalil? Is it a cry? Is it a shvarim? Is it a trua? Is it a moan, cry, a shvarim, trua? So in order to counteract for all different permutations, what do? Tkiya, shvarim, trua, tkiya 3 times. Tkiya, shvarim, tkiya 3 times. Tkiya, trua, tkiya 3 times. And of course, therefore you have 8, 8, and 12, equaling the 30 requisite shofar blasts. Now hopefully we know how we're yet to the mitzvah every single year in Rosh HaShanah. Now let's continue. We're not going to do the whole Lamed Beis, because tomorrow's just a short daf, the last daf. But we're on the final daf, the last line of Lamed Aleph. Says the Gemara, you blew the first one long, and the second one you did a double. We had this many times. Amar Rav Avua, says Rav Avua, Shama Tisha tekiyos b'tisha shayis b'yayim. Turning over to Lamed Beis, Lamed Beis. If you're 9 tekiyos and 9 hours of the days, is Rav Avua yatsa. You're yet your mitzvah. Tanami achevaraya shama tisha tekiyos b'tisha shayis b'yayim yatsa. Mites b'nei adam ke'echad. But if you heard 9 people simultaneously blowing, la yatsa, you're not yatsa. Tekiya mizeh u'trua mizeh. But if you're a tekiya from one person and a trua from another person until you heard the requisite 9 blasts, yatsa, you are yatsa. Va'afilu b'seirugin, even if you heard them out of order, va'afilu kolayem kulay, and even if they were the entire day, you heard a tekiya, then you heard a trarim, then you heard a trua, then you heard a tekiya, then you could still be yatsa to get your 9 requisite tekiya, trua, tekiya, tekiya, trua, tekiya, tekiya, trua, tekiya. Ask the Gemara 1 second, 4 lines down. By Hallel Megillah, we know the rule is if you make a hefsek of time, the amount of time it takes to finish the entire thing, the amount of time it takes to read the whole Hallel or the whole Megillah, what's the halacha? You have to go back and repeat it. So why here, if it's spread out throughout the whole day, are you yes, Yaitse? Explains the Gemara, like Ash Hadi Day, Hadi Rabbi. One was his own opinion, one was his Rabbi's opinion. The day, lie, says the Gemara, and his own opinion he holds is not the same that of his Rebbe. He was reading Kriyashma when he reached the filthy alleyways, and you can't say Hashem's name because there's filth over there. Ishtaki was quiet. Basar the Chalif. Afterwards, when he left the alley, Amar Lei, Ma'u Ligmar, I'm allowed to finish it. Amar Lei, it depends how long you waited. If it's the amount of time to say the whole Shema, go back. So we see that he says the same thing as his Rebbe. Answers the Gemara, this is what he Really, I don't have a problem. However, so he indeed does not hold the same thing of his Rebbe, but in the story you were just telling him over the other opinion. Tanu Rabbanan, and we're going to conclude with this final brisa. The tkiyos are not ma'akiv one another. What the brachos are, we must see Rashi. Rashi over here says, what does the kiyos mean? Bracha is the alma kigoin tiny is in mak vizu in birich loitaka. On a tainis you mean a bracha without blowing shofar. It's not ma'akiv. However, back into the Gemara, kiyos you bracha shal shanam shem kipurim are ma'akvais my taima. Amar Rabba Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu Amru lefanei Rosh HaShanah. Rosh HaShanah Malchi zechonis v'shofars. Malchi is kishatam l'chuna aleim mashbi your king. Zechroina is yishavel lefana zechanecham the taiva ubama. And with what should you do this all? Be shofar with the shofar. The last quarter of the Amud from Misha Berach to the end. We're going to stop. We're not going to do today. We're going to leave it for the last Amud tomorrow, which is a short Amud. And Amir Tashem will celebrate tomorrow with the finishing of Masechtas Rosh HaShanah.